Hey everybody, it is time to ring the bell and start the show. This is Kicking Out at 2. Unlike Vince McMahon at creative meetings, we're actually going to listen. So if you want to get in the chat and talk to us, go ahead and do that. As always, I am Michael. With me is my tag team partner, Tori, and we have a special guest today, Paul Morales.
That's me.
You're from the weekly review show. Tell us a little bit
Yes,
about
I
your show real
am.
quick.
Uh, we review stuff. No, I'm just joking.
We do
No,
reviews. We're done.
Tori got that one. She's all like, "Well, yeah, that's what a lot of people do." No, what we do is that we basically go through the headlines of the week, talk about them, BS back and forth with each other, come up with our own little sticks for everything, and well, and then of course we do if there's a pay-per-view the weekend before or they're coming up, we'll give our predictions or we'll talk about what happened on the shows and pretty much the same thing you guys do.
Yeah, same thing. Anyway, let's go ahead and kick into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is some wonderful news. We don't have a lot of news this week. It's kind of a slow work week. A couple of things we came across though. There's some question about Karrion Kross and whether he's going to be staying with the WWE because he decided to make some changes on his Twitter out of nowhere.
Except that on his Twitter, it still says WWE wrestler or
It
whatever.
does, yeah.
This man is getting into Hollywood and doing other stuff. This is much to do about nothing to me.
What do you think, Paul?
You know what? If he's going to go into Hollywood, which we've already seen that he's been in a couple of movies, doing little cameos here and there. So if his path leads him into the movies, then hey, cool. I'll, good for him. And I know Scarlett has actually been in a couple of movies too. So kudos to both of them.
Absolutely.
If this is a continuance for them, then
yeah, I mean, he's already got one movie that came out. I think it's theaters only though, so I haven't seen it yet. But it looks really good just from the low clips that I've seen from it. So it looks like he's going to be good. But I totally agree with you, Tori. Like he's changed his name to his actual name, which makes sense because if you're going to start promoting yourself for movies, you don't want them coming and seeing Karrion Kross. You want them to see who you are.
Because then they're going to expect a cut of that.
Yeah. So
like I said, I think this is much ado about nothing. He's doing it for the right reasons. It still says WWE superstar on there. Like, why is this a thing?
I think it's just...
Is it just a slow news day? What the fuck?
I think that's part of it, but I also think it's just like everybody's looking for people to jump ship. They're always looking for people and hidden messages in what they do. He just did that show back in his old promotion with the whole Chris Bay show. And so maybe they're thinking like, well, he did that show and he's changing his name and da-da-da.
If anybody takes that show to he's leaving, you're just stupid.
Yeah.
He did that because he was the guy that made Chris Bay the champ there. Like he put him over for the title.
Yeah.
Him and Chris Bay are super close friends. If you think him doing that one show is he's leaving, stop it.
Okay, then Nakamura went over to Noah, so he's leaving.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing.
So maybe exactly. He should just...
No. I mean, eventually, I think when the reason why they took the title off of him is because his brother had recently passed away. And I know that he had been going back and forth from Japan to coming back to the US to do stuff here for WWE. So maybe taking it off of him and giving him time, to do whatever he's going to do. And in between, I know he was on last week. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Again, y'all really need to find something better to do because why are we even talking about this? Yes, he could come out and squash it. I wouldn't.
And he came out this past week there was a clip of him coming out to his original music. His old music, his old theme.
His music was trash.
Def Rebel, leave it to him.
Like I said,
yeah,
it was trash. Oh, we trash them all the time. We trash Def Rebel all the time. I mean, I listening to what he does now, what they're doing as far as the production, dude. Y'all need to bring back Jim Johnson.
Yeah. Well, I think they took a phrase that someone had said one time and took it too far because some people came out in the Royal Rumble like the year before, and it was, I don't know who that was because I don't recognize their music. It wasn't that they didn't know who that superstar was, is that it wasn't an iconic thing. Like, you didn't hear that music and think iconic person. So now it's like everything is, they say Karrion Kross's name before it even starts, or say his tagline before the music starts. I don't need that. Just give me a good theme. That way I know it's a good theme and it's his theme.
Yeah, exactly.
Just ridiculous. Mercedes Moné, there's a little thing in there about her too. They're thinking about putting her with the Renegade Twins, which is a recent tag team added to the AEW ROH roster.
They've been okay. The Renegade Twins have been there since the dark days.
Have they?
Yes.
Oh shoot! See, I haven't seen.
They
them.
just didn't do anything with them.
Okay, well,
which is pretty much, which is essentially what Tony does. He doesn't do anything with a lot of the people that he has on his roster.
They were absolutely there to put over women's teams, and I say that in air quotes because they don't really have any. But like, they wrestled Britt and Jamie, like stuff like that.
Okay.
Penelope and whoever she was with at the minute, because she changes more than the Big Show. So whoever they did a lot of ROH stuff too.
Gotcha. So it looks like they're thinking about putting them together, maybe like an Outcast type of thing from when they were doing their thing. Just kind of giving her some more backup, I guess. Not like we didn't have great backup to begin with that we didn't do anything with, but that's a whole other Camille.
He mentioned Camille the other day and said she should be back soon.
Well, hopefully she is.
And if she is, and we get her and Mercedes, and you have the Renegades Twins as part of that, it gives you a chance to help somebody else get over.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to happen.
I mean, hell, stick Camille with Athena and Billy. That way they have a powerful third. And then
That'd
you have
nice.
a six-way tag for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's again, just a much to do about nothing. But, I mean, it's just little rumors going back.
I don't think it's a bad... It's good for the Renegade Twins, so I'm here for it.
Yeah. They're being used.
Yeah.
They're more being used in, yeah. More than about 60% of the roster.
This is old news, but I feel like we haven't talked about it, so I figure it's a good talking point anyway. Saraya is officially no longer Elite. She has backed away. Of course, the rumors are running wild of her going back to WWE because she kind of did the I'm good with WWE tour after she left of every podcast she went to. If they called me, yeah, absolutely, I'd go.
She started the apology tour early.
Yeah.
And she's not stupid. The girl's not dumb.
She's not at all.
Here's the thing. If I'm them and I'm bringing her back, it's to NXT. Stephanie wins.
If she hasn't dotted the I's and crossed the T's already, then she's already doing the promotion.
Stephanie wins whoever her title match is, and that scream hits, and that place is going to go crazy.
Absolutely.
God, that's going to be a long ass
day.
In most of her interviews, she's already said like she doesn't care if she comes back as Saraya. She doesn't care if she comes back as Paige. Paige is kind of, it's in her now. It was her name that she picked. They didn't pick that for her, so she was like, whichever is going to be fine for me.
If they bring her back as anything other than Paige, it's a mistake.
No, they'll bring her back as Paige. That's kind of a gimme.
I will say, so I've been talking to Tori a little bit off and on about this. So with a Spotify account, you can listen to a certain amount of audiobooks for free. And so I've been listening to her Hell in Boots. I'm a third of the way through it now. Good Lord, the stuff that her and her brother have went through in their life. They are so strong and wonderful people. And good Lord, the things that they've had to endure in their life. It's also kind of nice to see because I'm at the point now where she's talking about her getting told that she was going to win the Divas title against AJ, and how close the movie actually is to her actual life. Because I really thought they took some liberties there, and it's like, no, she really did talk to The Rock. The Rock really did tell her she was winning the next night. And it was like he wasn't supposed to tell her. He just happened to hear it in a meeting as he was walking by. And he was like, "Hey, just so you know, they already said this, so don't say shit about it." But the only thing that changed of that scene is she called her parents later, didn't tell them about it because she was told not to tell anybody. But so that phone call didn't happen. But a good book, though. I recommend anybody listening to it or reading it.
You know what? Now you got me intrigued. Now I'm downloading it to my Spotify.
Yeah, it's a good book. I'll tell you right now, the preface alone had me in tears. Just the first section of it.
I think you look at what Fighting with My Family was it was a good movie. I have to admit, but I mean, I think this book kind of goes a little bit more into detail of everything that happened. You know, that was left out of the movie. So
yeah, a lot of the stuff she's went through explains a lot of like her life and the stuff she went through there towards the end of her WWE run. In her walking away from the business for a little bit before going into AEW. It explains a lot of it. So, but I think the big question I see online a lot is a lot of people are saying, is she needed in WWE?
That's why it's entered NXT.
Well, I don't think that's the thing, though. I don't think she's needed in any of them. I think she's...
No.
In the interview, she said, as far as her walking away from AEW, her exact words were, "I'm good not coming back because they don't need me. They're doing fine without me."
Right.
So I think it's the same spot in WWE. But
they don't
if she's looking at wrapping it up, which she said that she's closer to the end than she is the beginning, why not end it in the spot you started?
And putting her into NXT, she can do the same thing Sean Spears is.
Mm-hmm.
He's helping younger talent. He's just putting younger talent over.
Yeah.
And that's all he's doing. I mean, and even if she were to come back and she does the exact same thing, boom, she's in the company. Mm-hmm. You know, she's back where she started. Like Tori said, you know, it's always a matter of time when people come back. You know, especially if you didn't leave on bad terms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as Punk said, never say never.
Yeah.
I don't remember her terms being bad, but I don't remember them being great. But it was also they wouldn't clear her medically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the bigger things.
It was the same thing with Danielson, same things with Copeland. They wouldn't clear her medically. And I'm wondering where that line changed. Like, you had Cope come back. Danielson could have, but you wouldn't let him. She probably could have too, but you wouldn't let her.
Yeah.
Like,
I do wonder if that's why they let Cope come back, though. Because, like, you made that mistake with Daniel. Like, he went to other specialists. He found other places other than the place you're sending him to say, look, if we do this, this, and this, he's fine.
Yep.
Just let him do that. So maybe they learned their lesson with it and was like, okay, well, Cope got specialists to show us that he's okay.
Yeah.
Let him come back in. Just be careful with it, you know. Don't drink blood.
Vince was in charge when Bryan Danielson left, wasn't he?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so that would probably be the reason why Bryan Danielson didn't come back. And I know if Vince didn't really care for him, you know, Vince didn't have that the same view as Triple H had, you know, of Bryan, you know, and Cope coming back, I think that was kind of more so Vince liking Adam, you know, and, you know, saying, okay, well, you went through all your specialists and whatnot, which is pretty much the same thing Bryan Danielson did.
Mm-hmm.
Only difference is like Vince didn't care for Bryan.
And he had to take into account what, at the time, Edge had done for the company. Because how many times was it, we don't have anything else to do with this, so here, hold this, and he'd do something amazing.
Yeah, he'd hold that world title fairly easily.
Yeah.
We have already talked about it, but there's been a little bit more that's come out about the whole Gail Kim situation and that shocking turn of events. The talent pool that was let go was increased. I don't have all the names here, but it's basically over a dozen people that end up getting let go. A lot of people reached out, though, specifically about Gail Kim being let go, and just it seems to be the consensus is everybody has no clue what's going on as far as why they're letting her go. But with Scott D'Amore, with Gail Kim, with Josh Matthews, with all those talented people, you can even throw SoCal Val into that, because she was one of those that she's been there forever, and she was that on-screen talent that you could always count on. Those people being gone is absolutely crazy. But this leaves now Tommy Dreamer's now handling talent relations. Hunter Johnson, which is Delirious, as the lead creative, which
I don't even know who that is.
A lot of people don't.
Can I sign up for that job? Because nobody knows who I am either.
He was in ROH. He was in ROH previously.
He was.
Yeah. And not to say he wasn't a big thing, but he was El Generico. I mean, in ROH, yeah, you're a big deal, but once you got out of there, what are you going to do with that? And so he just has kind of been just Delirious on the indies, and I don't know if that makes it where you're good enough to run creative. That seems weird. But more power to them. Hopefully they do well with that. We've already said our piece about it. Paul, what did you think about them letting go of Gail Kim?
It was probably the worst decision Anthem ever did. I mean, they've let a lot of people go, but I mean, they let Scott D'Amore go, which was way, way much more than a farce than Gail. But my God, she's a mainstay. She's a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
How do you let her go?
Yeah, it's crazy. We did find out, though, that she does have no non-complete clause, so she can literally go wherever she wants to go. So hopefully we'll hear from that soon.
I go, God, not AEW.
Honestly, though, and Michael and I were talking about this. If Tony can get out of his own fucking way, which obviously is the problem, but if he could, and you give Gail Kim the reins to that women's division, it's a whole new ball game.
It is. But our stance is like, you look at the amount of talent that they have on that roster, the years of experience they have on that roster. Let's not forget that Jeff Jarrett, who started TNA, who was pretty much there from the ground floor of TNA, could also be a booker for you, could also be that person in your ear to say, hey, look, why don't we pivot this direction, or why can't we do it this direction, and help you guys out.
Yeah.
But Tony, much like Vince, is pretty much doing the exact same thing. Again, wash, repeat. Wash, rinse, and repeat.
I think we're just repeating.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they call that a whore's bath, if I remember correctly.
According to Austin Powers.
Wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see soon her show up somewhere doing something. That is wishful thinking on our part. Obviously, I think the entire wrestling world understands what's going on in AEW. Some are more opinionated about it than others, but it's just, you have a fan booking the territory, and he can't get out of his own way because he wants to see his toys fighting with each other. If he can step out of that role, give it to someone like a Gail Kim and say, all right, because they've been rumoring that the new show that they were going for on Max was going to be an all-women's show. Give her that show. Give her your women's talent. Give her that show and go run with it. Do something cool.
What would be interesting is if she shows up at Evolution.
Yeah.
If WWE does another Evolution,
they
haven't confirmed it yet. But
at least it's on the table. At least it's on the table, and they've mentioned it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if it's mentioned and it does happen sometime this year, hey, that would be cool to see her show up on there. That would pop huge.
It would.
But let me ask you this. Do you think with all this that Anthem is doing, as far as like letting people go, Is this their way of saying we're in cell mode?
I think so.
Yeah.
You realize that library is huge. 20 years.
Whoever buys that is going to get, they're going to pay an ass load for it. Can you imagine if Tony picked that up?
Can you imagine that the person who's already in a partnership with them picks them up?
Oh, I know.
Dum,
I
dum,
fully
dum.
expect if they decide to sell, that the WWE will buy it.
Yeah.
But I guarantee
yeah.
Tony's going to be involved in the bidding.
I can guarantee you that he'll be involved with the bidding, but but if they want to go bigger, if Anthem wants to go bigger and they want a share of the revenue, then they'll go with WWE.
Well, and with me, the library is kind of the big thing there. If it goes to AEW, where's that library going to go? Because right now, we've got ROH that you have to pay monthly to see any ROH. You've got AEW, which now you're starting to be able to see it in perpetuity, but they just kind of started that. So then where does the TNA library go? Who do they deal that with? At least with WWE, we know, okay, they're already pushing stuff out to YouTube. They've got stuff on Tubi. They've got stuff on Peacock. They've got stuff on Netflix. They've got many places where things can go if it goes there. My only hope is, and I know, Paul, I know you watch the show. Levesque, listen. Buy it. Give it back to Scott D'Amore and let him run it. Just pay for it. Just do the ECW deal of you give them some money and let them run a show, because I don't want to see another WWE product. I love TNA because TNA is its own thing.
I would love to see Scott D'Amore because I see what he's doing with Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. I see that, and he's putting on shows every 2 months to, elevate what used to be great in the early 80s, 1980s. So, that for that fact that he wants to do that, revive, Canadian wrestling, that in up there, I can see TNA thriving still with him at the helm, and bring back Gail. Let Gail, the fact that they're floating talent back and forth from NXT to over to TNA and then vice versa, them coming over to NXT, gives them such a great platform. And you want that for any company. It just sucks that Tony is pretty much telling people, well, you want to watch ROH, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
And you have this deal with Max. I don't understand why it's not on there.
Yeah, I know there's been a couple of rumors from time to time about them getting a TV deal or looking at getting a TV deal, and then it drops out. They need to figure something out, because ROH, some of the storylines they have there are better than what they have on AEW, to be quite honest.
Which makes zero sense.
Well, it's like, for instance, like, I care about Athena versus Monet, but that's because I know Athena and I also have watched her in WWE. The regular AEW audience, I don't know if they know who Athena really is. So is this really a box office match for them? Because you haven't shown her off to the main audience.
You're not wrong.
You're not whatsoever.
Last little bit of news. It's kind of non-news because I think we all knew what was happening there. Mina Shirakawa is officially done with her stuff, and she is 99.9% going to AEW. That's what all the rumors are saying. That's what Fightful has found, is that that's probably where she's going. No one's surprised. She had the big thing with Toni Storm and Mariah May. Makes perfect sense for her to show back up there. Now that Mariah May needs someone to face, maybe that's a perfect opportunity for her to come in and do something with her. Or maybe they do something, because Mariah May and Harley have been doing their YouTube thing. Maybe they spark up a friendship, and then we need someone for them to go against. I don't know, but I'm fine with her being there. I'm afraid of her being Tony's new toy, and we'll see her for like 2 or 3 months, and then she's just on the undercard somewhere. What do y'all think?
You're not wrong. Megan Bane's going to lose that match to Tony at Dynasty, and she'll go away then. So
it's it's like, in my view, it's Tony has, as you said, he has his toys, he has his prized possessions that he thinks are, the top to him, and everybody else is just filler, and that's pretty much what Mercedes Moné is.
Mhm.
Tony Storm. You have Megan Bayne, who's there. Do we get Tony Storm to drop the title because she's better at chasing it than having it, or do we leave it on her through all in Texas, and then have her drop it to somebody else that's not named Mercedes Moné?
Probably not.
I don't know. It kind of seems like we're on that trajectory. We're going to end up with Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné, which the only person that really wants to see it is Tony.
Go
Or do
ahead,
you
Tori.
guys want to see it?
I wouldn't mind Mercedes and Tony Storm, but I would definitely need them to change up what they're doing. She needs to drop every one of those belts.
That's exactly what I was thinking
Yeah.
too.
And Tony Storm, this is back to that thing we've talked about. She dropped all the belts, can't win a match, starts jobbing to literally everyone. Tony Storm feels bad for her, and Mercedes has the match of her life.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great. I mean, would I like to see that match? Yeah, sure. If the clock was, I don't know, April of 2 years ago. But where we are now, I don't want to see that match right now. Especially with her holding 6 belts or whatever it is now. I don't want to see her do it because now I'm afraid you're going to give her the world title too. And then, like, who do you have? Because you've already said Willow can't do it. You've already said that Thunder Rosa can't do it. So
where the hell? That's
the
the thing, though, is where's Britt Baker? Where are all these women that they had on this roster that were the top talents of their roster, the top tier of their women's division? It's like, here is Harley Cameron. She was going with Mercedes. Now all of a sudden, what? Now she's in a faction.
Well, and what gets me with her, and this is going to be a horrible example, and I'm so sorry. She should have been
I like
Eugene.
how that starts.
This should have been a story, not of her being retarded, not that, but the whole thing with Eugene is that he was this savant that no one expected. And that's what happened with her. You put her in the ring and she somehow won. And you put her in the ring again and she somehow won. To me, she should have beat Monet. That would have been the perfect setup for what we talked about of she gets beat for the TBS title or any of those titles. Pick any of the title. I don't care. Whichever one you want to put on the line.
Yeah.
And she loses to Harley Cameron. Someone who hadn't won a match until you said, you win a match and you get to face me. And now all of a sudden she's a savant and she's beating everybody.
Okay. We both know my feelings on Harley Cameron.
Yes.
Okay. I am a huge Harley Cameron fan. Both the on-screen character and the person. She's done a heels call, so I got to sit there and hear like just her story and everything. So I love Harley Cameron. She should have beat Mercedes.
Yeah.
Now, if
100%.
you're doing all this to bring her back around to beat Mercedes, okay, because you're not about to have her take that belt off Athena. If you do, I hope she leaves the company. I hope Athena leaves the company if you do that.
You wasted all this time on Athena to give her the Roman Reigns treatment.
Yeah.
With that belt. And then
she's in 800 and something days.
Roman Reigns.
Except that Athena's defended her belt like 5 times what Roman has.
That too.
Well, okay, that's true.
Like, that was my biggest complaint with Roman's title run, was how little he actually defended the belt.
That's right. 1,316 days, 10 times he fought.
That was the consensus of everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody on our podcast was the exact same thing. Why is he the champion for so long and he's barely even defending it? Why are you defending it against Brock Lesnar like 4 times?
Well, my favorite thing
people.
is we always forget about like those little niche rules that they only bring up once in a lifetime. Wasn't it if you don't defend it in 30 days, you have to give it up? Like, wasn't that a rule at one point?
That used to be the rule, yes.
But no, not Roman. No. We can go like 4 pay-per-views without him having a singles match.
That's what happens when he signs his name on the dotted line and says, I can do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
On the face of this company. So
Harley taking the TBS title would actually be a lot more interesting to me than Mercedes having it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how she gets it. I kind of hope Athena comes out and costs her the title.
That would make more sense.
Before we get that match, Athena costs her the title, and then she beats Mercedes to keep her title.
Mm-hmm.
Like, writes itself.
Well, and then like the great thing about Harley is, you know, and Paul, you made a good point of like, is Tony better chasing or is Tony better having? The great thing about Harley having it is everybody's a threat. Every match she has, because she's so green, someone has a chance to beat her. She's not unbeatable. So every time you're rooting for her to find some way to beat this Amazon woman or beat, you know, Chris Statlander, who's been there forever, and you're having this baby face that we can all get behind because she can be beat at any moment. Why we don't do that, I don't understand. But you know, we talked about the toys and stuff and who else can face, but it's like the Jamie Hayter project. Like, I understand she got hurt and that's why she got out of the limelight, but she came back with this new look, this new gear. Haven't heard jack from her except for like one match that I think since then. She's
had a few matches, but I think their match that she had Saturday put her in the Owen Hart.
Yeah.
And the winner of the Owen Hart gets a title shot at All In Texas. Yes. So first of all, I hate the new look. I hate it. I just don't like it.
So did everybody else.
No, tell me how you really feel.
I'm not Mickey James hating it. I just don't like it.
You know, here's the IWC is so weird because their first statement was she's looking like Becky Lynch. No, she's not. Let's stop that right now.
Yeah.
Just because she turned her hair red doesn't mean she's looking like Becky Lynch. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Mina gets better treatment. Hopefully Mina gets a spot. And hopefully she doesn't end up just being one of those new toys that gets stuck into a random battle royal or a random tag team match later down the line. But with that, we're going to switch over to... My button's not working.
Dang it.
There it. There we go. To the first count. Flip a coin, Tori. Who do you want to go first?
I don't care.
Okay.
I just show up. You're running this thing.
Well, we're just here. We're looking very dapper.
All right, I'll go ahead and go off of mine. First of all, I'll go ahead and start with probably the funniest shit that I've seen ever in AEW, and I need to see more stuff like this. Toni Storm getting cut off by Penelope Ford before her match.
That kick in the face was amazing.
Yeah. So Toni Storm comes out there with a promo. She's doing her signature innuendos, doing her whole thing. She ends it with the point of I think it was a reference to slapping her tits off again or something like that. But then out of nowhere, Penelope Ford just kicks the teeth down her throat. and then has this like mug to the camera that I don't think I've ever seen Penelope Ford pull off. Just like slight crazy, very happy of what she just did for herself. It was a great moment.
That boot came out of nowhere and was so good.
Surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It reminded me of like old moments with Keith Lee. Of like he'd had those gifable moments. And that's one of them. Yep. That's one of those moments of like, that's going to be a clip around forever now of telling someone to shut up. And you're going to send them that because it's you kicking them in the face and smiling at them. Like, it's going to be a great moment.
To me, that's a moment that is going to help make Penelope Ford.
Yeah.
Not that people don't know who she is. I mean, people do. But that moment makes everybody sit up and go, oh, shit.
Well, it's a personality. And I hate to say that about Penelope, but that's what I've been missing for her, is I miss who she is. For a long time, I would mix her and Julia Hart up because I didn't know the difference between the two. It was just, okay, these are two blonde, pretty women. All right. And then they tagged for a while. Didn't make it any better.
There are some very noticeable difference between them.
There are.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's I believe there's about 2 inch in height. That was about the difference between the two of them. My favorite one, I'm sorry, but my favorite one of this week was actually Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa. It wasn't like it was supposed to be Thunderstorm, but then it ended up being Thunder Tits, and I was like, wait a second, what?
Toni Storm, we gloss on her every single week, and that's just, she's so amazing at what she's doing. I hope she does not go back to WWE because I don't feel like she can be that character there. I do wonder about the longevity of this character. Like at some point, I think it's going to run its course, but
tell me when we got the swerve of her going back to that original Toni Storm, that OG Toni Storm. Tell me that wasn't like the biggest swerve.
It was. My only complaint about it, and we said it on the show, was that we did it on a random collision. Like that was the turn. It's like, what we're doing it on the show that nobody watches. Why are we doing this here?
I honestly think she could use this gimmick till she retires.
Maybe.
She could start working forward slowly from the era she's in, and it would just get better.
Oh, a 70s Toni Storm would be fun.
That's what I'm saying. Comes out with an 80s Toni Storm with a big hair, like flashy, bright clothes. Like, you could do all kinds of stuff with this character.
That's a good point. That'd be a decent evolution of it.
Or have her get hit one match or knocked out. When she comes back, she's some other time period actress.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could do all kinds of things with this.
Jane Fonda, Toni Storm.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
My number 2 is MJF and the Hurt Syndicate and the Learning Tree. All had a random mash of a promo together. Overall, I thought it was good though. First of all, MVP. People sleep on this man when it comes to mic work. He is so good. But so he's out there with. They're doing the whole MJF promo. He's out there talking about he's wanting to join the Hurt Syndicate, and he got the card, and MVP's coming out to talk to him, and then Hurt Syndicate comes out and goes, no, takes the card away from him. MJF powders and leaves. Then Big Bill and Brian Keith come out, because apparently every week we got to have some random tag team challenge Hurt Syndicate. And MVP saying the same thing he's been saying to every single one of them. You know what? Win a match, maybe, and then you can come talk to us. But then it all dovetailed around backstage later. The Hurt Syndicate's backstage, and Shelton's talking about he doesn't trust MJF. Bobby Lashley just doesn't like him. And so MJF's willing to revisit this conversation. What do you guys think about MJF being a possible member of the Hurt Syndicate?
No, absolutely not. If we're getting a token white boy, it's going to be somebody better than MJF.
That would be like MJF joining the Undisputed Kingdom.
It's weird.
It has that same effect. Like it wouldn't be, it would be different, but I mean, it would be him just being there. I mean, he hasn't done nothing. Like he was this badass rebel kind of character where he wasn't wanting to be, anybody's bitch. Pretty much was what he didn't want to be. He was out there, cutting promos, talking smack to everybody, and now he's just there. And that's the worst part is like Tony hasn't done nothing with him. He's just there. I want that guy back. I want that guy from 2020, 2021. I want that MJF back. This one right now, I can't mess with.
Putting MJF into the Hurt Syndicate reeks of Sami Zayn and the Bloodline.
Ooh.
Good point. I was thinking Owen Hart and the Nation, but
same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Now,
but Sami made it comedy. Exactly. Sami being in the Bloodline, it was funny and it worked. Oh, no. And then
I'm a big fan of Sami as part of the Bloodline, but what I'm saying is MJF with the Hurt Syndicate, it's not going to be the same thing, and it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the outsider being part of a group that has no business being part of that group, but they put him there anyway.
The best one that you mentioned was Owen Hart being in part of the Nation of Domination, and that wasn't.
It was so good.
I am not a nugget. Sorry.
But I think it's stupid. I don't. All we're doing with this is trying to face turn MJF.
Yeah. Which
that's all.
Here's the thing with MJF. MJF to me is Roddy Piper. All he has to do is change who he's talking about, and that changes the character. So you don't need this to face turn him. Have him. Again, this goes back to the writers and that whole thing, and at some point we're going to rewrite that whole story because that needs to be rewritten. But why is MJF, which is a person that was there day one, if we're trying to face turn him, not trying to go against Mox and his crew? Why is he not dealing with that? Because they're taking his spot. Instead, we have former WWE guys and former New Japan guys trying to fight for AEW's honor. It makes no sense to me.
I mean, that's the worst part is like where are the homegrown talent?
They're climbing a mountain right now.
And he's climbing a mountain. And of course, MJF was an original too. So it doesn't make any sense to me as to why every champion is pretty much an ex-WWE guy minus Daniel Garcia.
Yeah, what are we doing with him? Like, we made him serious, we had him stop dancing, and now he's just dancing in a group again.
Where are the trios titles?
Death Riders.
Part of the Death Riders, and nobody's defending them. Nobody's doing anything with them. It's just they're there.
Yeah, the whole Death Riders thing is a whole black hole. Like everything's going there to die. But we'll talk about that on another day.
That's a whole nother thing.
But
that could be a whole show if you want it.
The thing I loved about this topic I brought up though, is I don't know who thought it was a good idea to put Big Bill on a mic against MVP. Why did Jericho not come out with this? Because as much as I hate Jericho right now, as much as I don't like what he's doing, Jericho's great on the mic. Why was Jericho not out here to try to help his boys?
I sent you a message about this because I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah, MVP was tearing them up.
He's not Enzo.
Collision? No. Not that we want him around, but this was a terrible idea from the beginning. And it turned into a bloodbath because MVP murdered him.
That he did.
He did. Speaking of murder, my number one, Cena versus Rhodes. Promo number 4, I think.
Number 87.
3. It's only 3, right?
I disagree.
You're like, I lost count.
I disagree with the internet. I don't think Cody cooked on this one. Everybody's talking about how Cody finally cooked John Cena. He got one over on him. I don't feel that. I feel like Cena still got the upper hand of it, except for where he physically moved back and let Cody talk. I think if Cena would have went in there, as Cena does, he still would have torn up Cody. But that's just my personal opinion. But first of all, we get another London shirt. So we're still pimping out all of that merch.
Oh, sorry.
Yep, there you go. Last time is now.
There you go. Last time is now.
I'm
not going to get up and turn around.
He references AEW. Because he says, like, I'm over here building franchises. You're just taking money away from rich people's kids. Damn.
Cody mentioned he started a company and left.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, Cody very much did the Eminem from 8 Mile gimmick on this of, I'm going to say everything about me that you're going to say, you can't say it.
And John still busted him up.
He still busted him about the tattoo because he's like, it's not about where you put it. It's about the fact that you put it there at all. Like,
I did love that I've got an arm tattoo on my neck.
Yeah.
That was solid.
Him bringing up his Stardust days, the fact that he's going to be facing Stardust at WrestleMania, that was nice. I did feel bad for Wade Barrett because he was like, I don't bury talent, I bury mediocrity. And he buried Wade Barrett. So I felt a little bad for him sitting right there on commentary. Rhodes dropping Cena with the Crossroads. So he finally got that as far as the physicality one up on him. We finally got them to touch and have a moment. Do we feel like this is a go home math kind of situation of Cody finally got his hands on Cena? And so we're going to get Cena over? Because from my understanding, this is the last time we see Cena until Mania.
Because he's not showing up in Chicago.
No.
Do you understand what happened to him in Chicago?
He gets stabbed.
Like, that would be the worst idea since Stardust. Like, no.
Yeah.
Cena showing up in Chicago. You thought Philly was bad with RVD wins a We Riot. No.
Yeah.
So, if he doesn't show up for the next 2 weeks, though, that's a problem.
I'm sure we'll get, because the whole thing keeps getting compared to The Rock when The Rock was doing his Hollywood stuff. I'm sure we'll get some vignette or some interview over VHS on the big screen. Doing that thing.
Memorex.
For anybody that's currently watching, VHS is an old tape system that we used to tape to back in the day. You always wanted to rewind it when you were done. They were the shape of a brick and about that heavy too.
I hate you.
But
oh my god,
that's almost like putting the pencil inside of the cassette tape and rewinding it that way to rewind all that got caught in the tape player. So
that's right. When you're trying to record
there's the mental image for you.
Record the radio off the thing.
Exactly.
So I mean yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get something like that, but I really kind of feel like this is go home math situation of Cody got the one up, which then makes me scared when we get to WrestleMania that we're doing this. We're going to give Cena his 17th title, which I kind of felt we were going to do anyway. But to me, that kind of solidifies it. What do you guys think?
Cena's winning the title of Mania.
Cody's winning.
Nope.
Really, with the shirt on and everything. You're like,
with the shirt on and everything, I'm saying Cody's winning, and unfortunately, we're going to have another year of.
They're trying to get away from Flair because
so is a bunch of women, but that's a whole other conversation.
Well, what are you going to do? Is he going to? I mean, what is the purpose of him winning it aside from winning 17, which we've
That
already, we've debated on our show to say, you know what, we already know that Flair has more than 17, more than 16 championships, but it's not our fault that the NWA didn't want to recognize a lot of the ones that he lost and whatnot, and then had to gain
here's
it back the next day. I.e., what he did with Kevin Von Erich and Carlos Colon and um, Antonio Inoki over in Japan. And I get it. He's probably got maybe 2021 if we're getting up that high.
but we're not. And I honestly, those I'm going to drop it to turn around and win it the next night just to put somebody over in their home promotion. I'm not counting that either.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to count it either. And
So he said forever he was the 16-time world champ. He's rode that pony himself everywhere he's gone. They're trying to get away from it, and I don't blame them. I'm kind of stunned Charlotte's still using the last name Flair and not just being Charlotte. Cena's winning this, and then he's dropping the title at SummerSlam to somebody else that's not Cody, possibly CM Punk.
But everybody says that Cody is better at chasing it rather than holding it because
his run as champion has been lackluster at best.
But that's not his fault. I can't throw that all on him. I mean, I have to give Paul that credit. That I'll throw that blame on Paul because he's not
100%.
Because you gave him AJ Styles as his first one, and then you gave him Kevin Owens to go away from Kevin Owens to come back to Kevin Owens, and then now you have John Cena, which are pretty much he's had 3 somewhat good big feuds, I guess, between the time that he's had this title. Look, John, regardless of how anybody wants to look at it, he has the most world title reigns in WWE. In WWE, he has the most world title reigns. Second is Randy and Triple H, who are at 14. Right. He can hold that to himself and say, hey, guess what? I am the top in this company because I've held this title for so long, or so many times. I've had so many title reigns. And he did the same 16 with the same company. So,
Yeah. The thing that bugged me about this, and like everybody's saying that, Cody did so good in this, specifically when you get to like the end of it, because John drops the mic, he walks away. And then, to me, the most force-fed line I've ever heard in my life. Well, a crowd has never chanted at me, you can't wrestle. And now, this long later, that bugs John Cena? Because that's been going on for years.
No. See, I think that thing bothered him when it happened. He just couldn't say anything about it because of the character. But Cody's not wrong on that one.
I'm not saying he's wrong.
Nobody's ever going to say Cody can't wrestle. I mean, the argument about Cena is still fairly valid.
He got it in ECW when they told him that he couldn't wrestle. When I think we could pinpoint every single match that he's had where people shouted the same thing, you can't wrestle. And then all of a sudden, I think he had the match with Shawn Michaels over in England, and they tore it down. For some apparent reason, we got literally the best of what John Cena can do, because who was he in the ring with? Shawn Michaels. He had to bring his A game. He had to bring everything that he never did before, that Vince wouldn't let him do, and bring it to that forefront. Can we get that? Of course we can. But can Cody bring it out in him? I don't know.
I think he can. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Cena, this is the only time that I'll ever say that idiot from Florida's name in a good light anymore. Hulk Hogan, John Cena, same animal. 5 moves that they were told to do. You do these things. These are the things. Those are the highlights. Those are the big match moments. But Cena proved over and over again, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, he can go if you put someone in there that he has to go with.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, to me, just that didn't hit. But I personally feel like Cena still won the night. That's just my personal opinion. I know, like, most of the internet's against me on that one. I think they think Cody got one up on him. But, we'll see what happens.
It was a good promo. All in all together, it was
a great promo.
But a lot of us wanted that John Cena to come out. The one where he threw Roman Reigns under the bus. Where he roasted the Miz. And we wanted those promos. We wanted those fiery promos where he was just sitting up against the rope. Don't worry, I'll wait.
Yeah. Which that's the gimmick, right? Is that he's not giving us those things because he sees the internet and he sees the stuff that's happening. And he's like, all right, you guys wanted a new look, not giving you that. You wanted a new theme, not giving you that. You wanted old thugonomics, John Cena? Nope, not giving you that either. I'm going to come out here, walk and saunter to the ring. I'm going to grab the mic and I'm going to talk as slow as I can. You guys aren't getting that anymore. And so I like the gimmick change. I disagree with the internet.
No, the first night he came out and he said, I'm not changing anything. That's my voice on that music, that you hear. If he would have changed it to any other theme, say he took Bad Bad Man from his first album, say he took that song and came out to it, that's still his voice on his entrance theme. So it wouldn't have been no different. Everybody still would have been rocking it. Yeah, of course, because we still rock that album. Shoot, I do. I know I do. Shoot.
Or whatever that song was that he created when he was supposed to go heel. Because he was supposed to go heel a long time ago, and he's like, I had a theme ready, I had a look ready, I had everything ready to go, and then they're like, no, we're not doing it.
And I think that is why the fans were like, what are we going to get?
Yeah. But, Tori, I know that face, and so what just happened, I'm assuming on NXT or on Twitter?
Yes, NXT. Zarya and Lash are in the ring, and I guess Zarya chopped Lash. And Lash returned the favor and about caved in Zarya's chest.
Oh, shit.
Like, the sound when Bianca hit Sasha with her braid?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I couldn't turn it. I didn't want to turn it up because we were doing this, but I saw I saw her do it. I'm just like, I'm not trying to hear it yet, but I'll wait. Don't worry, I'll wait.
I'll go back and listen to it.
This is like a Bob Holly chop.
All right.
Okay.
Ouch.
Yes.
All right, we're ready for your 3 count. We'll go ahead and start with the easy one. AJ Styles versus fuck that guy. Him and Logan Paul had a promo together. Before you get started, I do want to say something I did see on Twitter. There was a guy who was getting roasted on Twitter because he was like, I feel like the Logan Paul hate's just forced at this point, and the internet blew him up.
I'm sorry, sir. Have you listened to this man when he opens his mouth?
But unfortunately, I feel like we're going to end up actually giving him some credit in this, so I'm gonna let you take it. So
go
ahead.
I was watching Raw and I messaged you and I'm like, I hate that I have to say this. Okay, so AJ's in the ring. Logan Paul comes out. We knew we were getting a Mania match. We knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Back and forth, blah blah blah. The fight starts. Logan gets the upper hand and he picks AJ up in basically, if I remember right, like a suplex position and then turns it into a DDT.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I hate that guy, but fuck, that's impressive.
Which apparently we were calling the pulverizer.
That's horrible.
I'm
calling it a suplex DDT. Stop it. We're not doing that. He doesn't get to name his move. Fuck him.
Oh no. Pat McAfee did.
I know he did.
Yeah, it seems like each week we're saying the same thing about Logan Paul, and I hate that we like have to say this each week. Man, I hate that guy. But man, he's good. Like, if he just could stop being a douche human being. Which, by the way, the fans chanting douchebag at him, amazing.
Was solid.
Perfect.
I'm kind of hoping some of these things that we've gotten overseas carry over. I'm all for them singing the theme songs. I personally love it.
Mm-hmm. I don't want all the chants. Some of the chants are too much. Like, I don't need Cody Rhodes. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, we can
Except for when Paul Heyman grabs the mic and does it. That's great.
But I hate Logan Paul as a person.
Yeah.
Fucking hate that guy. He's a transphobic piece of shit. He's just ridiculous. I can't with him.
Can't go to Japan.
But God, that kid is athletic.
Yeah. He's caught on to this so well.
His natural athleticism is crazy.
Mm-hmm. I am glad we're finally doing something, and it's nothing against him. It's nothing against, because I'm sure other people have been telling him to do these moves. We're finally doing something that is not one of Hangman's moves. Because
thank God.
That's kind of just what we were doing, is he was just doing, and I know Hangman said he hates the word, but you were doing Hangman's moveset. So now we've got something that is his own. I hate that it looks so damn good, because he doesn't deserve a move that looks that great.
No, he doesn't.
But it's an amazing looking move.
On a totally off topic thing, Ricky Starks won the North American Championship.
Yeah, I figured he would.
I didn't think it was going to happen so quickly. I really
had that
thought they were going
to for like 3 seconds. Like, what?
I thought they were going to wait till Stand and Deliver to do it. Because that would have been more my ideal thought for him to, but I didn't want to say it. I could see where you were looking at, but because I just saw it too, and
it's fine. Like, we do God. NXT spoilers here. The people that watch us understand that you're probably going to get some NXT spoilers on the show. It's the problem of going live at the same time they do, but yeah, I mean,
that would have been my thought. I would have thought they would have done it at Stand and Deliver. At least he would have got the pop in front of a huge crowd at T-Mobile. So
yeah,
and it's going to be on at 9:30 in the morning. Good Lord,
10:30 our time.
That's a McGriddle pay-per-view.
I told Michael I was going to set up my camera in the kitchen and cook breakfast while we watch the show. It's stupid early.
It is.
But
yeah, it's stupid early for us.
I just kind of surprised they put the title on it. But anyway, back to Logan Paul.
Yeah.
I just hate how quickly he's caught on and how damn athletic that kid is.
I'm also a little concerned that the last few times I've seen him on TV, I feel like the bloom is already off the rose for him. Because it already seems like he's a little disjointed.
I've noticed that too.
And so I'm thinking we're probably going to see him leave at some point here soon. He's not going to make this his whole thing like he said he was going to.
No, I don't think he's going to stay any longer than what he needs to. You know, I agree with you. He's a transphobic piece of shit, and you know, both him and his brother can go to hell. But on another platform is like, you know, he told the Undertaker, like, he practiced that spot that he did at SummerSlam, you know, the springboard off of the top rope, and you know, he said he practiced that for like 3 or 4 months, you know, even before he even got in the ring. And he told Taker, he goes, I ain't ever doing it again. And he goes, that's for damn sure. He goes, I ain't ever doing that again. He goes, because I could have damn near killed myself. If they weren't there to catch me. He goes, I can guarantee you I'd have hit God knows what and God knows where.
Hey, Big Mike's
Big
in the
Mike.
chat.
Wait, whose birthday is it?
It's Logan Paul's birthday. The greatest thing in the world is that he was born on April Fool's Day.
Well, that tracks.
The universe did it right.
Yeah, exactly.
That 100% tracks.
But Big Mike joined us in the chat from the Run-In Wrestling Pod. Welcome in. All right.
All right. What was number 2?
And number 2, Reigns Rollins Punk contract signing. I'm leaving the big one for last because I I think we all will probably have a lot to talk about on that third one.
That whole thing was amazing. Like Seth on the microphone calling Roman out, like, there's no you without me, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm the reason you're here.
Well, and bringing up that they started in that building, which, like, I didn't even track that of, like, that's a thing.
Yeah. That 02 was where that pay-per-view where they debuted to help Punk.
Mm-hmm.
To Punk coming out and basically telling Rollins shut the fuck up, for lack of a better term, to finding out they were a main event and Punk literally getting emotional.
Yeah. Well, and Paul too. Like, Paul was getting emotional talking about it because that's the thing. And I mean, you can cut hairs when it comes to, like, is it actually the main event because it's the main event of night 1 or whatever. It's a main event. He's closing the night. But also then the swerve of him saying to Paul,
that wasn't the favor.
That's not the favor I'm owed.
The look on and Seth's reaction to Punk's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So perfect. So well done. He's like, no, you don't deserve this. This is an earned spot and you haven't earned it. And I was like, damn. Like, that whole segment, start to finish, was perfectly executed. It went long, and they should have gone a little bit longer, but start to finish was perfectly executed.
Yep.
The fact that they ran over the time, they didn't even to get in what he needed to get in. The fact that they went over that, I guess 2-3 minutes for that part, and Trips didn't just say this is going to be on YouTube or it's going to be on our exclusive network freaking later or something like that. No, he let it run over. He didn't care.
Yeah. Having those little run over times, like, I'm glad to see we're getting some of that back. At least for the network stuff. Like, obviously for Netflix, like, they can start and stop anytime within that 3-hour block. So as long as they just do what they're doing.
And we've kind of settled on 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's perfect. For some apparent reason, it works. Some SmackDown just seems to, like, it lags. It, like,
but
drags.
If you take out the commercials that SmackDown has, it's about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, no.
They're planning a 2.5 hour show. Commercials fill the rest.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, even like Denise Salcedo, for instance, like, she watches it, VPN. She watches it in Canada, and then she watches it on Netflix because apparently it's on Netflix internationally. So
yeah,
she gets all the run throughs, and it's like, she goes, that's kind of her thing, is like, you don't get to have to worry. You don't have to worry about the commercials and everything, but still at the same time, it's 3 hours of, you get to watch all the content while they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
While other people get commercials, while we get commercials, they're, she don't get to watch them. So
yeah.
Big Mike, you're not wrong. Either they didn't tell him, or they said there's a clause in there you're gonna have to find to make this, to sell this, because his facial expression didn't give it away when he came out, but once Paul Heyman said that, you could see the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So either he's a really good actor, which I'd be hella impressed, or he really didn't know.
Catch some of his horror movies. He's actually not bad.
Yeah, catch him in UFC.
I did. It was like that year.
That was 30 seconds though. We don't count that.
Yeah, catch him in his UFC fights. He was acting like he was a UFC fighter for a while there.
That's fair.
I love Punk. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, Phil.
You're good.
Sorry, Phil. I love you. Don't come at me.
We're okay with Grunkle Phil jokes. But yeah, no, it was such, like, everything together was just really well done. Punk getting on his knees and acknowledging Roman, then just to turn it around of, I acknowledge you for getting me into this main event spot that I'm about to win. All doing it right in front of Seth too. Like, it just pissing him off even more.
The whole segment was, like I said, it was perfect. It was perfectly done.
Yeah, he was there to chew bubblegum and sign contracts, and he was all out of bubblegum.
Mm-hmm.
Love that line. Love that line. Pay homage to freaking Roddy Piper.
Mm-hmm. Well, and speaking of lines, like Reigns' line to Seth, because Seth was talking about like their relationship, and he's like, "We died a long time ago," and just kind of eliminating any thought of like Shield buddying up or anything like that.
Yeah, it was we got what happened last year at WrestleMania. We got the little incident, between them and whatnot. So,
all right, so you're Big Mike, I'm Fast Mike. I'm all right with that. Whatever.
I was just waiting for you to read.
I was like, why is she dying over there? Okay, I can see it now. Yeah. Okay, I can see
it. Big Mike always throws it off the rails for us, which we love him for.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Now for your third, our final thing of 3 count is Jimmy Uso getting murdered by Gunther.
I have said from the beginning that this feud needed something else. This was that something else. Because him using Jimmy's real name just made it so much better.
It was heart-wrenching to hear him yell John.
Yeah. I'm telling you, like, this is exactly what this feud needed. First of all, Jimmy slapped Gunther into this week, so he had plenty of time to prepare.
He slapped the shit out that man.
That was and I know they were in a hallway, so it sounded better. But he literally slapped Gunther to Monday. Gunther's had a full week to plan.
He's already on Friday. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right? It was rough. Watching that was rough.
Yeah, like, first of all, internets are assholes. Because of course we've had all the complaints of, oh, well, when WWE does blood, it's all fine and good, but then AEW does blood, it's too much.
Not the same.
No, this isn't the same thing.
This is not that.
This isn't 3 inches of a nail in someone's back.
Right. This is not Moxley landing on Spike. Yeah. Okay.
Hold on. We could get into that. That's a whole nother story right there. Because, and I can go on and on with that one. But okay, continue. Sorry, my bad.
This blood was perfect. And for him to be choking him out and Jay can't reach him, like, it reminded me of when Roman did it to Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what Jay did to him after? Because that's when Jay slid in with the chair and just beat the piss out of Roman.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
I won't be surprised if we turn this title match into no DQ or something, some stipulation to get a little messy.
Well, we did exactly what Jimmy had said the previous week, which is, I need main event Jey Uso. I need the Royal Rumble winner Jey Uso. That's who I need. This brings back main event Jey Uso. This brings back the right-hand man, because now he has a reason that he just wants to beat the piss out of Gunther.
And Big Mike, you're not wrong. Like, it still would have had the impact, but I don't think it would have made as much of an impact.
Yeah.
You needed this. This is what it needed. You needed something to spark it up, to make everybody invest a little bit, just a little bit more in and care just a little bit more about what was going on between the two. What we had before, it was just like Jay coming out, doing his little shimmy little run to get to the ring to help save whoever was being beat up by Gunther. And that wasn't enough. It's not enough for fans. I mean, granted, I mean, some fans probably were just like, yeah, he's coming in, woo, getting the slide in, and it's coming in for the save, but then we get a lot of other fans, the IWC, who are just a bunch of assholes that said that it's worthless. It's a pointless match. It's just there. They weren't doing anything with it. You get this to happen, all of a sudden, the investment is like, oh, wait, now you're making it a little bit more personal because now you went after his brother. I could tell you one that would have been more interesting too. Had Rikishi showed up, had his dad been there to, say something, or be there. And that would probably be another layer to add to this. Like, say his dad showed up next week in Chicago and Gunther chokes him out. That would be an epic moment too.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. You don't have to add any more, really, because you already added fuel to the fire. But
I don't disagree. I'd actually. So I thought of that too, of Rikishi showing up instead of Jimmy, it's Rikishi. I think the thing that set up the Jimmy thing though is the fact that he slapped the hell out of Gunther, so it gave a reason for Gunther to want to brutalize this man. But Big Mike, that's a great point. Personally, I cannot wait to hear what Jay has to say next week, or him not talking, one of the two. Because either way, we're not going to get that same Jay Uso, I'm out here, yeah, yeet, I'm gonna beat you, yeet. We're not getting that next week. There's no way it's happening. Either he's gonna be stoic and quiet, or he's gonna be on the mic and just like, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
That's what I want. And I don't want him to come out and just be like, oh yeah, yeet, yeeting with the crowd. I want him to come out, and I don't want him to come through the crowd. I want him to come down the aisle. I want him to stand there and in the middle of the ring. If he has to get a little bit emotional, fine, get a little bit emotional. But I want anger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna beat this fool's ass at WrestleMania. I don't want nothing just, hey, yo, yee, partying with everybody. Right. I want a serious Jey Uso.
Yeah. I mean, we can do all the eating in the world after he wins the title.
Roman Reigns when he beat Jimmy. I want that Jay. That's the one I want.
Absolutely.
As Jimmy said, his right hand man. That's what he wants.
I will say, so to the point of the blood, like, did they need it? I don't think they needed that much of it. I do think they needed.
I think he just bled.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if he cut a little too deep or what, but there was a lot of damn blood. But I do feel like, so Austin Brett, like, Austin opened the hard way, but it was a happy accident of where he got cut, how it happened, and with the blood, like, we all know the picture of him pushing up out of the sharpshooter, blood dripping down that little spot over his tooth. All that is happy accident. I think this is also a happy accident. Like, the way that bled, and when Gunther stands up, and it looks like a murder scene all across his stomach, and half of his face is covered in it. Like,
he wiped it on himself too. Yeah. Like, it was a nice touch. And like, I think it was just one of those things. It didn't hurt the angle.
Yeah. I will say I didn't need
at least it wasn't Eddie Guerrero cutting himself open and, visibly freaking his heartbeat and his freaking just coming out. And I mean, he was beat red. That was all he was, JBL was worried too.
Mm-hmm. The chat rolled up a little bit. I want to make sure to highlight this real quick. Mike said, I said Monday Night Raw should cold open in the middle of the ring, no entrance, no music, and Jay say either you come out here or I'm going after you. That's it. 100% agree.
I need Gunther to run like a pussy for the next 2 weeks. 100% be like, no, you don't give me to 100. He, like, Jay's in the ring, Gunther's up in a box. Jay goes up to the box, Gunther's at the entrance. Like, cat and mouse. Like, make this whole feud. We've both been like, I don't care. Jay's winning. Who cares?
Yeah.
I care now.
I will spin one thing. I need him to get one ass whooping. I need him to go in there, act all high and mighty like he has been. If I'm better than you, and I'm bigger than you, I'm badder than you, I beat the shit out of your brother, and I need him to tag him one good time, and Gunther be like, oh shit. And then that's when he starts powdering, like, all right, I'm not dealing with this till I have to. Yeah. But give him that one good ass whooping first.
Yeah, i.e. Jimmy Uso or Jade or Roman.
Yeah.
If you can give me that one moment again, I'm invested.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more invested.
All right. Final segment, Twitter topic. The Twitter topic this week we're going to talk about is Mickie James on the most recent episode of LFG. There was a match between two of the girls there. The whole idea of this week, Gunther was there. He was saying, I want to see killer instinct out of some of these people that you're not seeing it from. And so one of the girls, Cena, very much bubbly, blonde, happy-go-lucky, acts a little ditzy in her character. They wanted to see her be more serious. So she got new gear, did a new entrance, acted completely different in the ring. Her gear was very reminiscent of like Lana when she was wrestling towards the end of her run in WWE. And Mickie James wanted to say to her, I don't think you need that revealing of an outfit. We as women have worked years to not have to show our asses to the crowd. I think it should have been something less revealing than that outfit, which is basically, she compared it to bedazzled lingerie. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let you guys talk a little bit, and then I'll chime in.
Tori, you first, my love.
No, go ahead.
No, Paul's smart. We're men.
I ain't no. This ain't my subject. Go ahead, girl. That's all you. I'll state my opinion. I'll state my opinion after you. I'll go before Mike.
Okay. First of all due respect to Mickie James. Her accomplishments, what she's done, what she went through. Props to Mickie James. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is the critique you had? You watched that whole match and that's what you came up with? Like, these women can do this because of what you went through. You don't like it, it's not for you. Cool. How many times have you come out there with your ass hanging out, Mickie? The hypocrisy is ridiculous. These women wear what they're comfortable with. Nia covers herself up because that's what makes her comfortable. Natalya used to cover herself up because that's what made her comfortable. Rhea obviously does not have that problem. Those tops are hanging on for their life. You're going to tell Rhea that you're going to say this? You wouldn't have said this to anybody else in that locker room that's been in the business for more than a cup of coffee. This was such an out of touch take. Look, you're not coming back for next season, and after this comment, I hope this is why. This was a terrible take. Again, Mickie has earned the right to have these takes. She's done the job. She's dealt with the shit. She's been a world champion. But this, to somebody this young in the business, no, ma'am. Nope. Get up and go. This was as close to body shaming as you get without actually body shaming her.
I cannot disagree with anything you said, because
I've been salty about this since I saw that clip.
And believe me, I had, that's probably going to be one of our subjects on our show, because I know that I had already told my Michael, I have my co-host, I was telling him the exact same thing, and he had sent it to me. And here's the thing. is that for years, yes, there has been that stigma of women coming out in scantily clad ring gear, and showing half of their body, and not being taken seriously. Michelle McCool is one that actually talked about it multiple times on multiple platforms, talking about how she felt like Vince just wanted them to go out, go do their stuff, and then, bounce out. The match that she had with Victoria on SmackDown, they went out and kicked the shit out of each other, and go into the back, and then Vince tells them, well, you guys need to go out back out and do it again. And Jericho's like, why? If they're hitting hard, if their hits are harder than the guys, then that's not a them problem. That's an us problem, And the ring gear that they used to go out in then was half of their ass hanging out,
bra and panty matches.
Bra and panty matches. Again, that's where I was going to go to next. I go, and you can't tell me that Mickey wasn't part of those too. And I get it. We've come so far from that, and then we're taking more women more seriously in their wrestling aspect, the things that they do in the ring. Yes, we're taking them more seriously, but please don't go back and say, well, you should have wore this differently, or you shouldn't have worn that because we did this and that. And the comment that she made irked the shit out of me, because it's like, so it's okay for you, who has been a veteran of 20 plus years in the ring, to come out in booty short and Daisy Dukes to a TNA show. Yes, I get it, tits and ass, but a TNA show, and and that's okay for you, but not for somebody who's just starting out in the business. Help her as if she's not doing something well in the ring. Don't do about her clothes, because that was the worst. That's poor taste and poor judgment for Mickey, and I love her to death too.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Mickey's a legend. I don't think anybody can take that away from her. I do want to put the caveat on here of, this is a reality show, which reality shows aren't really reality shows, right? So we've heard it with like the Total Divas stuff back in the day, of like, what you saw was like 70% real and then 30% scripted. Maybe this was supposed to be salacious. Maybe that's what this was there for. But still, if we're talking about it for just what we see on the screen, you were talking about a girl in a gear who was covered up more than probably 70% of the roster currently in any of the promotions. You've got, let's go, Zoe Stark. She used to. She doesn't now. Now she wears jeans because she's in the thing with Shayna. But like, she wore basically booty shorts and a little top. Like, that's what she wore. You have Bailey, who's coming out there sometimes with obvious rips and tears in places that she knows where they're going. You've got Rhea, who's went from pants to shorts to I don't know what those are anymore, because you see half her ass cheek, and the tops that she wears barely covering anything. But no one's saying anything to them, because we're watching the match. Her statement as far as saying, I feel like I see these girls' asses and that takes me out of the match, that distracts me. That's you, boo-boo. Like, I'm enjoying them kicking the shit out of each other.
And you watched the match. It was a good match.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, keeping in mind that all of these people have had only a handful of matches. Like, none of them have been in the business for more than a cup of coffee. It was a good match. And her intensity on those headlocks and those head takeovers, like, I know, like, one thing that I've always heard on previous Tough Enoughs and seeing people train on Twitter and all that, is a headlock on the ground is one of the worst things for someone to get into, because you can easily fall out of the groove. But her locking it on and wrenching back, making it look like you're actually doing something, not just laying there, that's a good call. Like, it's insane. What I found great is one of my favorites of all time, Velvet Sky, replied to it and said, I quote, "I feel attacked. Nothing wrong with the sex appeal in wrestling, Diva's era or not. I personally find nothing wrong with her gear, just my opinion, but what do I know? Let the pigeons loose, Cena." I don't think it could have been said better.
If she comes out and does Velvet's entrance next week, I'm going to die.
I'd love to see Velvet just show up.
But like both of the comments were, Mickey and the Divas fought for them to wear what they want. But like you said, yes, we're noticing the outfits at the beginning of the match. By the end of the match, I've forgotten what the outfits are because the matches are amazing right now.
Yeah.
They're not all great, but the fact that they're being given time, they're being given main events like this, what's going to be a triple threat for that title feels huge.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like this person said, same thing. You came out in a schoolgirl outfit. Like, hello, pot, this is kettle, you're black.
Well, so I will back her up on one thing. In her tirade that she said, she did say, I've shown my ass all over the world too. So she's admitted that she's done it. But I think the key point there is what Big Mike said and what you reiterated. They fought to be able to wear what they want. If they want to wear that gear, more power to them. Show me the talent that makes me not give a shit what you're wearing. That's what I want to see.
100%.
But let's go back to the bra and panties matches. I'm not trying to say to focus on the bra and panties matches. What I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying to say
a lot.
No, I did too. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is if the wrestling was better, then the bra and panties matches would have been okay. That would have been just a stipulation in the match. Mm-hmm. But if they were body slamming, suplexing, going off the top rope and, getting to those points and elbow drops and what the holds, the moves that they're doing more so now than they weren't doing then, it would make sense. I'm just saying that it would have made more sense to have that type of match rather than them just laying on the ground and somebody pulling off their ring gear and then all of a sudden, oh my God, they got their panties out. Oh my God. And the bra comes out and it's like, okay, ring, ding, 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 ding after like 2-3 minutes.
I will counter that with it didn't matter how good they were going to be because Vince wasn't going to let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so like we kind of full circle in this thing. So kind of back to Paige's book. That's one of the things she talks about in there is like when she first got to Raw and did all that, like that they were doing that stuff. They were doing the bra and panties matches. They were doing the fulfill your fantasy matches. And like in one specific instance, they did a bikini contest. And she's like, I'm supposed to be the moody person who's not in this. Well, that was pretty easy for her because she didn't want to do it. But she kind of had to because that's what they said you're going to do. And she references the same thing Michelle did of like they would tell us to not go all out. Like we'd go out there and we get told to do half-ass stuff because they don't want to see women wrestle. So I'm all for the fact of like they fought to get more time. I'm all for the fact that they fought to be able to do more. Let's not push everything on what you are wearing.
I just felt like this was a very out of touch take. That's
very much so.
Yeah.
And again, I adore Mickey. Nothing but appreciation for her in-ring contributions and out of the ring. Yeah, they weren't allowed to be better than the men. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It just, that's the one thing you focused on out of all of this. I haven't even watched the match. I don't know anything about it, but that's what you focused on right now? With everything that's happened in women's wrestling, that's what you focused on? I just don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get it either. It's a travesty that that's what we're still focusing on at this point of like, well, she wasn't wearing anything. Like, all right, so we'll throw this out there. Another one of the matches had Bayley in it, not WWE Bayley, but LFG Bayley.
Right.
Paul, have you gotten a chance to see Bailey from LFG?
I haven't even I've been so sporadic with the episodes, so I haven't really sat down and watched the entire thing. But you know what? Now that you actually mentioned it, guess who's going to be watching it tonight?
Well, so Bailey's my personal favorite. I have shouted her out a couple of weeks in a row now. She is really tall and just massively strong. She's got a very unique look. She's on Undertaker's team. She does this Kali's cranial crunch as her finisher currently.
Oh yeah. I saw a video. I saw a video of that on Twitter. So I
bring her up to say this: her gear is she's showing off more because she's literally just got a little top and a pair of booty shorts. That's it. But we're gonna focus on this blonde girl, and she's showing too much. I don't get it.
And that's one of Bully's favorites. That's one of Bully's favorite wrestlers. And she's on his team, right?
Cena, yeah. Zena's yeah. He has said numerous times on this past episode because he's been off the board. He hasn't gotten any points. He's the first of his team members to get points. He said that doesn't surprise me at all. I knew she had something the moment that we had it. So I don't know.
Yeah, he did an interview with her on Busted Open, and he had told her like she's such a natural like talker, like she's so easy on the promos, like she just can come out and it's like her own personality, like she's just coming out being herself, and that's a lot of times that's what they want from wrestlers, is just for them to be themselves.
Yeah. I think I think this was good for her because it got her to show just a different side. Because the bubbly personality, I see that when she gets in the ring. Like this is just her. She's just being fun and bubbly and having a lot of fun. This getting to show like what's the over the top hat turn moment? What's the flip of the switch? Like what is the thing like when she gets in that mode? What's going to be that other personality? This got to show that.
I need her to come out in a potato sack for her next match.
Go back to like old Sable days.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, Sable wearing the potato sack. Yeah, that was
wonderful.
Yeah, but didn't Sable rip it off and have freaking pasties on her
handprints?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we need.
As a finishing note here, they ended the show on NXT with Ethan Page standing over Ricky Starks holding the title, and the crowd chanting, "Tony fumbled." Damn.
I love the NXT crowd.
You know what? That's literally like 2 weeks in a row, 2-3 weeks in a row that they've done that. So
I love what they've done with these guys. The only thing that I'm kind of like about is you got Ricky Saints in there, and the first thing you do is you stick him with all the other former AEW talent. That was a little weird to me, but I get it.
Yeah, but it's the promising part is that they're featured.
Mm-hmm. It is.
They're being featured as stars, not just people who are just there. They're stars. They already made them stars, and apparently Ethan Page is gonna showed up at a TNA taping.
Yep.
And now he's going to be inserted into the match with a triple threat match at Rebellion against Joe Hendry, and I forgot who else was in the match.
I needed him to show up 2 months ago though, when Alexander was there.
That would have,
because we needed that interaction, but that's neither here nor there. All right, real quick, Paul, before we close it out, let us know where we can find you, where everybody here can see you.
No, of course. The name's right there, the Dead Man of RWT. You can find me on Twitter. In my bio, you could hit my link tree and it'll take you to everywhere that I am. I have my BlueSky, I have my TikTok, I have also my YouTube page, which you could also follow my other friend, Mr. Michael Larkin, who does an amazing job with interviews himself. Okay, cool.
Michael your partner commented that's who mentioned what Mickey was wearing.
The Fulfill Your Fantasy Battle Royal.
Yeah.
See, look at Michael. See, Michael just loves me. He just wants to come up in here, trying to be all up in the business.
He missed you.
No, I actually sent him the link to watch us. So he's my brother from another mother, and
we appreciate that.
Well, every good podcast has a mic. That's just what we found out. So.
See, Mike. See, look at every good podcast has a mic. But anyways, yes, you can follow us, all of us. Just go to my link tree in my freaking bio and my Twitter, and it'll send you to everywhere, including our show, the weekly review, which you can find us, and we're actually recording, I believe, this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe we can have you guys on there one time.
Absolutely, anytime. Yeah. Just hit us up. And for Mike in the chat, this goes both ways too. If you ever want to be on the show, just hit us up.
Yeah, Michael, you ever want to be on the show? Look, Michael, and you got Tori here, so
all right. So here's what we need to do. We need to get Big Mike.
Yeah.
You're Michael. This is Michael all the same show.
That's a lot of Mike on the mic.
I'm just gonna stand there and say, "What do you think, Mike?" and watch you three argue over it.
And watch all you guys talk at the same time, and you're just like, wait a second.
Yeah. Real quick before we go, Harvey and Mike look back in time to 5 years previously, revealing Harvey's bittersweet promotion after his father's death. Coming up next on Suits.
Oh Lord.
I do that just to pop her. All right. Well, anyway, Mike and whatever Mike, and the 32 people currently watching us, thanks for joining us today. This has been Kicking Out at 2. As always, my name is Michael. We had a wonderful guest today, Paul. Thank you for coming on the show. My sister, I love you, Tori. And we will catch you on the next one.
There's all that stuff down there. Don't forget.
Oh, yeah. It's all down there. Subscribe, do the thing. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.